I feel comfortable saying, and I'm gonna say it. It's who you are and what you are, and that's who they refer to. And it's not fair, but you can go anywhere you want to go. You can go where she works. You can go anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. It's your choice of who you choose to be your provider in mental health. Just like it is for OGBYN, just like it is for ENT, just like it is for any specialist. You can go where you want to go. Some things have restrictions. And yes, I like to talk, but I want to go over this. You have Medicaid now. Medicaid went through a transformation. You have PHP plans, which is WellCare. Y'all girls help me. WellCare, Carolina Complete Health, Mara Health, what's the rest of them? Healthy Blue, and it's one more. So you have PHPs when you don't have a lot of serious things going on and your kids get Medicaid, they have that. Then you have Trillium for people who get IVC'd, a lot of have major problems, and you have Partners, Alliance, and all of that. So you have MCOs and you have PHPs. Some of these PHPs give you incentives, and you can call a number and change your PHP anytime you want to change your PHP, okay? And you can do it. That's like even with Medicare Advantage, because I build Medicare too. It's certain things that you can link with and not pay a lot for medications and stuff like that that people don't know about. So education and knowledge is power, okay? So you have choices. If you're not happy with one, change it, okay? And you can even change from Trillium, because Trillium is our catchment area. They cover a lot of states. You can change your Medicaid with Trillium and go back to a PHP. You don't have to stay with that, okay? Know that you always have an option. You always have a choice. You don't have to go with what your doctor says. If you go somewhere and you don't see somebody and you're not completely okay, speak up. You have a choice.
I just want to add one thing.
Got a question.
Something that's new in our area is mobile crisis services. So used to, whenever you're having a mental health crisis, or someone is feeling like they seriously want to hurt themselves or somebody else, 911 was what we just dialed, because we didn't have anything else in our area. So now, to avoid 911 having to be the response to mental health issues, we have mobile crisis services now, and so it'll be a team of people that will have, a therapist on the team, maybe a peer support specialist, and then someone who may be a part of law enforcement, just to be there for your safety. So it is through Southeastern Integrated Care now, but they service Scotland County. So I don't have that number on hand, but if you Google Laurinburg Mobile Crisis, you should look for Southeastern Integrated, and I believe it's a 910 number. Please put that in your phone and share it with everyone. I've had, people that were referred to the place that I work who received that mobile crisis response, and they avoided having to be committed to the hospital, because that can add to more traumatization when it's not needed. So.
Yes, sir. Like I said, one trigger for me is death, and I try to stay away from anything dealing with death because it puts me in a place that takes me a while to get out of. The problem that I have is that I have had family members come up to me because I didn't come to the wait or go by the house or do anything dealing with that. It made me feel kind of, unwanted because, that's your aunt, that's your uncle, that's your cousin, whatever have you. I have to stay away from that because I know that triggers me and that put me in a place. The question was, how do you get your family members to understand that if you come around, that's going to put me in a place that is going to hurt me for months at a time. So how do I deal with that?
Yeah, I think that's first of all, let me say thank you so much for being able to share. That takes a lot of courage, but it also takes a lot of vulnerability to be able to publicly share that. So that's a loaded question, so I'm not going to take too much time with answering it. I think it's twofold. The first thing is you have to be aware of where you are emotionally, mentally, as it relates to dealing with grief. Because if you're at a place where you say, I'm not emotionally healthy enough to be able to go to a funeral, and you have to be okay with that, but then you have to be firm on your boundaries in the sense to say, this is just, I'm not going to put myself in a position to do that. Now, the reality of it is you can't control what they think. You can't control how they interpret what you say. The reality of it is you have to be comfortable enough to say, even if they are saying, well, why you can't go? That's your family. That's your auntie. That's your uncle. That's your cousin. Like, I get it. I love them from a distance. And the second thing is the second thing I want to challenge you in the aspect to say that in order for you to get in a place that you are comfortable with coming to a funeral or wake, you got to deal with the grief. You got to be able to face it, because if you don't face it, you'll always have your back, and it'll feel like you're on a treadmill and you ain't going nowhere. And so, because then it comes to a place, what happens when you want to be there, but you can't? And then you got to ask yourself, what am I doing to make sure that, because at the end of the day, I don't think, and if anybody tells me otherwise, I got to scratch my head. I don't think nobody in here says that death is easy. Doesn't matter whether we've seen somebody die in our own, in front of us, or whether we heard it. Nobody, and I mean nobody, deals like just says, oh, it's another death, let me go, and I'm just happy go look. Nobody does that. And if you do it, you need to come see me, And so I think you have to get to the place, there's two things. Get to the place where you're comfortable even with their reactions not being favorable to you. Second thing is you got to be able to say, what am I doing to be able to help me combat this grief that I'm dealing with? Hopefully I answered that.
I have three more questions I have to get through, but I want everyone to hear what we're saying from the clinicians and what's going on here. It's okay. It's okay. If you don't go to the funeral, if you don't go here to the birthday party, if you're not feeling it today, it is okay. And if they don't come, it's okay. Don't put that burden on someone else. It's okay. They didn't want to come for whatever reason, and they're allowed to feel that, and they're allowed to have that. We can't demonize and crucify people just because they don't want to do it. Are we okay with that?
You cannot use religion to intoxicate conversations.
Can't do it. And it is okay. Because what we, just like Sister McLean said, what we do is we'll use the church to weaponize. What would Jesus do? Rest.
Weep.
Yeah, weep. It's biblical. And so we can't demonize people for if they make a choice to not do. Some days we don't feel like getting out of the bed. Men as well as women. And what we've done, even with our children, we've raised them in such a way. What's up, man? He's 3. He's not a man. Are y'all hear what I'm saying? Yeah. We give them responsibility before time. So now I have to be the man of the house. I don't even know what that is at 12. I got to walk in my daddy's shoes, and I can't even fit my own. So we need to stop doing that. Let me get, you have some more? This is a good one. One comment I hear a lot in the black community is that this is just the way that I am. And that's just them, or I've been like this all my life, especially from the older community or generation. How do we help them realize that they need some help and it's okay to get help?
I feel a lot of that is excuses. Really, for bad behavior. People want to normalize bad behavior. So,
Please repeat that one more time.
yes, people want to normalize bad behavior. Yeah. So we make excuses, and so we say, "Well, that's just how I am. You're just gonna have to deal with it," and instead of addressing the issues that we may be facing. So what we have to do is encourage people and let them know that it's not okay to treat people any kind of way just because that's how you feel or that's how. So quit making excuses, seek the help that you need, or talk with somebody, because you can't project those type things and expect everybody just to be okay with how you are doing or how you're feeling. As the gentleman said, there's a difference between being annoying and someone being triggering. So we have to stop accepting people for being annoying and having those behaviors and calling them for what they are. So.
Sometimes.
Go ahead.
My bad. Sometimes people don't even realize that they're doing something before they're even being called out for it. And so you got to make sure that you hold people accountable, whether that be your family members, whether it be their friends, whether it be a sibling, whoever it is, you got to hold them accountable, because sometimes they don't even realize they're doing something until they're called out and be like, oh, that's just how I am, or you realize that, that's something that their mama did, or that's something that they learned a long time ago, that they're just repeating the cycle. So we got to hold people accountable and make sure that they're aware, so that way they can change or they can realize what they're doing. So.
Let me just say this real quick, Pastor. I think the generation before me, I pay homage to, I honor, because there's a lot of things that the generation before my parents, my grandparents, that they had to survive that I didn't have to go through. So let me just say that clearly. Let me just say thank you for being able to do that. But I think there's a difference in between surviving and healing. Because what happens is, it's like, well, I survived it, so this is it. That's made you to who you are, but it doesn't make a healed version of who God wants you to be. Does that make sense? So I'll leave it at that, because I'll keep going on that, but I'll leave it at that.
I like it. That's a whole sermon in its own.
Yeah, I had to leave that alone.
But for me, my biggest thing is whenever someone comes in, how they say in therapy, you meet the person where they're at. So a lot of times, one of my biggest challenges have been men and older women, black women. And the biggest thing is, y'all are honorary too. Black women are very honorary, men are very honorary, surly, and they speak their mind. And speaking your mind and being straightforward is a whole different thing than being rude and ruthless. You understand? So a lot of times, I'm fine with it. I've had a man that told me if I have to fill out this packet, it's a consent packet. You have to sign off for me to talk to you. Then I'm just not going to do it. I said, well, sir, there's the door. The same way you came in, you just got time to go out. Couldn't find out, he couldn't read, he couldn't write. So I'm be honest, some things tap into different things. So, he's already touched on something else. So what I want to touch on is sometimes when people come in, that's all they know. Like Aiden had tapped in, that's all people know. Some people, all they know is, like I said earlier, talking loud and getting what you want. But that's not going to get you what you want here. I can't be talked to any kind of way and be a therapist. Because in order to be a therapist or be in the field we in, we have to believe in change. So if we don't believe in change and believe that someone could be better, and you can work with your psyche and your cognitive and your behavior and get therapy, then we're not really what we say we are. Because we're there to help you circumvent that behavior, turn it around, because you don't know. You're not a PA, I'm not a PA, I'm not a nurse practitioner, that's why I have one on staff, and I'm not an MD. I'm not any of them. So I don't know how to help myself when it comes to that. But I know how to help myself when it comes to other things. And sometimes even being a therapist is hard. Because do I get mad? Yeah. Do I get sad? Have I been to work depressed? Yeah. But I work through it because I tell myself, I got to be a better version of me before I walk into Cage McLean Counseling Services, because I got to help other people become a better version of themselves. So the biggest thing is I got to get myself right. You got to get your psyche right. If you can't get it right on your own, let us help you. Because that's what you're there for. So the attitude needs to drop at the door. What you learned from somebody else needs to drop at the door. Allow us to stick in our techniques and what we know to do. And if it doesn't work, the same way you chose us, you're allowed to choose someone else. But the biggest thing is allowing someone to help you and allowing yourself to make that change. So always being honoring is a good thing, you know, because I grew up with a very angry mama. But you can't talk about my mama. Now I can, but no, nobody else can. But I grew up with a very angry mother, and angry people do raise angry people. You know, and passive-aggressive people raise passive-aggressive people. We all have to get in the world and learn on our own. You know, I pulled from her tree, but I also planted seeds and pulled from my own. My kids pulled from me, but they also planted seeds and pulled from their own tree. You know, that's why they say the fruit don't fall far from the what? Tree.
Can you be depressed and not know it?
Yeah. I think that's a loaded question, but the short answer is yes. Because I think you'll start to adjust and think that that's the new norm. That's the normal. Oftentimes, I'll speak to men. A lot of times, sadness or depression, long-term depression, just looks like a man that's just angry. They're just angry all the time. Ticking time bomb. I mean, Pastor and I talk about you're a ticking time bomb. And here's the reality of it is oftentimes that C.S. Lewis has a quote that says, I sat with my anger long enough until she told me her real name was grief.
Wow.
Because oftentimes we're grieving and don't even know that we're grieving. We're just mad. Just angry at the world, angry at our spouse, angry at our children, angry, and then we just think we're mad, but oftentimes that is, you kind of talked about that earlier, is that chronic piece, that piece where it impacts your daily function, your everyday function. You can't maintain or manage relationships because you drive everybody away. You think it's everybody else, but oftentimes it's you. But the short answer, Pastor, is yes, you can be depressed and not know it. You can just think this is just a dark cloud that's just over my life.
So while we're there at depression, how do you approach a person? What do you say? Or how do you say things to support them if they go into spaces of quietness, they won't talk, or they stay in the room?
You sit in the room with them. I think that oftentimes we struggle with silence because we want to say something to make the person feel better. We want to say something. We think that maybe I didn't say the right thing, or maybe, oftentimes I think some of the greatest healing that I've seen in my practice, because I start every session out with, we're just going to sit here and we're going to meditate for 5 minutes. Because that drive there is hectic. Their anxiety is raised up. They're worried about this, especially if that's their first time. Oh man, I don't know how this is going to. Their mind is racing a mile a minute. So what I call it is the healing practice of presence. So if that person just needs you just to sit with them in silence and do that, you come over to the house and I'm just going to sit and watch TV, or we're going to sit here in silence for 30 minutes or an hour. That's what you need to do to be a part of that person's healing journey. It's not yours, it's theirs.
Silence is powerful.
And so you have to be able to say, you know what, if this is what this person needs, if this is what I need, I have to be comfortable with sitting in silence. And oftentimes we're not comfortable with sitting in silence because we want to do, and our mind is racing a mile a minute. But we got to be comfortable with that.
These responses are so amazing, Y'all know I'll joke in a minute. But we will do that. We're uncomfortable with silence, right? You can walk in the house and someone's sitting in the living room, no TV, no music. No, you sitting in here like you crazy. So why do we have to go left with that rather than this is where I am right now? Have y'all ever been there? I just need to be quiet for a moment, you know? While we're at depression, let me go here. Just received another one. Is hoarding a sign of depression?
I would say definitely. That's another thing that can be intergenerational as well. Just, I guess there has to be some type of underlying attachment issue there, and it can be definitely passed down. I mean, it could even be attached to like a scarcity mindset that we have, maybe intergenerational poverty and things. And so it kind of represents that elephant in the room too, right? The thing that we know is there but don't want to address, don't want to talk about. I think stuff has a funny way of symbolizing the internal stuff that we don't want to deal with. And a lot of times, we do tie sentimental value to objects, which is not an unhealthy thing. But when it starts to interfere with your daily life, with your daily functioning, it's time to kind of look at what maybe that's representing. So.
You're absolutely right. I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. For me, whenever I first, how they say, start attaining things or seeing stuff, I see, working with people, I noticed that hoarding was tied to trauma, like she said, poverty, some anxiety and depression. People don't realize, but anxiety and depression now is like they're headers with a lot of diagnoses that's coming in.
Yes.
Anxiety and depression. Anxiety outweighs, to me, depression in my office a lot of times. People tie it, and a lot of saved people don't want to say they're depressed. They don't want to say it, but they don't mind saying they have anxiety. But I do think that hoarding for me, when I would go into people's houses, when I would make home visits, it would be people who said they came from nothing. They didn't want to throw anything away because they said that if we throw it away, somebody could use it. I said, well, they'll come on the trash pile and get it. Let's clean this out. If they want it, they'll come by the trash pile and get it. We might have to clean the trash pile up, but they'll come by and get it. Just sit it out there. If you want to, present it real nice. But they'll ride by the trash pile and get it. You have to be very careful. Just like he was saying about going in a room with somebody when they come. My thing in my office is silence, but it's food. I keep food in my office. I keep danishes. I keep food. And I keep soap. And my office is set up like a home. The kids call the living room, call the lobby the living room. They don't call it the lobby. So I do that so I nobody should walk in the office and it stinks and it's dirty and the bathroom smells like urine. It should never be like that. You should be able to go somewhere and you can feel like you're somewhere that you feel safe. But hoarding is definitely connected, like I agree, from what I have learned, to poverty. When I go to people's houses, they collect everything. And also too, they think they can make money off of it. They think they can make money off of this, or this is sell. I got this newspaper from 1965. I'm serious, and you make little tunnels and paths, or it could be an unpositive way of remembering mama or daddy. I don't want to get rid of this stuff, so now you've made a shrine. That's whenever grieving gets bad, when you make a shrine. You got everything there. It's okay to let go, but you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful when you talk to someone about that type of hoarding. Yeah. But very, very careful. Very, very careful, because if it's connected to a loved one or to a loss, you really might leave out there in an ambulance or something. You got to really, really be careful and talk to them and see what you can minimize.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question? When we talk about labeling, when we talk about hoarding,
Hoarding, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Some people call hoarding having a lot.
Yes.
I just live in a closet.
Okay.
I don't call it a lot. I just say, you need big space. Put some more clothes.
So when you go through your closet, when you decide to go through it, sometimes when you're looking for something, how many things has tags on it, and how many times have you double bought it or triple bought it?
No double.
No double bought or triple bought. Okay, well, I'm just saying sometimes that's what we see. No. That's what you're doing too, it sounds like. Keeping on to things. No, I'm not talking about double buy, but holding on to things.
No. Okay. I'm saying that when we label people
you got a lot of nice
If
things.
you're wearing your stuff and you need your stuff and your stuff is just not fitting in the old space, you need to be a bit closer.
So you're trying to get a big closet, but that's not
No,
hard.
I'm saying most of my have bigger closets.
Yeah, I don't think that's not
not
hoarding. That's not
That's
hoarding.
just having nice things,
Yeah.
and having what you like.
Yeah, if it's not interfering with your daily life and causing you problems.
And it's not
But-
chronic. Is somebody picking
Yeah.
at you saying you're ordering? Okay, that's what husbands do.
Do you have to carve a path out to get to the bedroom? Okay, well, you might be okay.
I have one more question, and we're going to break out in sessions. I am a nurse at Scotland Memorial, and I am the only African American on day shift
Bless you.
on that unit. How do I keep my job and stay mentally sane when every suggestion, or if I'm helping, that it comes from me, that I'm labeled aggressive, that I am attacking someone, but when others say the same thing, they're not attacking or labeled?
I think I would like to hear your perspective on that.
I think a lot of times, especially as an African-American woman, those are labels that are placed on us, in systems that are designed to make us feel minimalized or underappreciated or undervalued. What I would suggest is that we have to be careful of tone. Even sometimes, I know I myself am guilty when I am servicing a client, that things may come off. I have to watch how, it's not necessarily what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. So making sure that your tone is appropriate. But just learning to do self-care, and in situations where you are stressed, doing things that will allow you to be self-care, and to maybe get massages, or to step away, or do some things and navigate those systems, and sometimes seek care for yourself. I mean, seek therapy or seek things, and learning how to navigate it, because unfortunately the systems that are in place are not designed for us. They're just not. And there are things that are in place that we just have to learn to overcome and navigate those systems, and just making sure that we have a safe space, either to a fellow coworker. If you're the only African American on that, but maybe there's someone that is a physical therapist, or there's someone that's an occupational therapist, or somewhere that you can go within that space to feel safe and feel heard. And if you go to a situation where administration is not listening to you, document things. Make sure that you are documenting situations and things like that, so that if there ever becomes a situation where you are brought up on, I don't want to say charges, but brought up before or written up, that you have documentation of things that were done, and how other people handle things, and how things, so that you will protect yourself in those type things. So.
Yes.
They wanted me to train the RNs. I was LPN, no pay or anything. But they'll tell you right now, I was one of the best nurses they ever had, because I cared. I would go answer the doorbell. Why you going down there, Terry? You crazy. I said, because that's my job. That's my livelihood. And I loved my job. And I don't have no grief about it. Thank you.
And I talk a lot, like I said, but I want to say, I work with hospice. I was the only black female there. So my opinion about it is, this is what, it's sad, but this is the way the world is set up. I was the only black female there that had what they would call, they don't pay attention to CNAs. That's not fair. They wouldn't pay attention to them. So we have to stand up for other ones I was a licensed therapist, and I worked as a social worker, because I have a social work degree as well. And then they put me in like the bereavement area. They would try to utilize me everywhere. And when I would say no, it would be a tornado. It would be a storm if I would say no. But if someone else says no, it's okay. They would throw fits. I've seen them stomp. I've seen them do a lot of different things, but I couldn't do that. So like you said, and that's why I really wanted your opinion. You've been in that role. I've always admired you and Betty Edwards. Betty Edwards has gone on, but y'all was rock stars. And y'all paved the way for people like us in any field, professional field. But it's hard being black, being educated, and you can be educated but not be knowledgeable, but be educated and knowledgeable and good at what you do. Because just because you have licensures doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. That's right. But if you know what you're doing, then you're dangerous, and that's what they can't stand. They're scared that you're going to be over them one day. So they want to discourage you. If they are bothering you, then you're doing your job.
Thank you so much. We're going to split sessions here. The men, we're going to go downstairs to the fellowship hall. You're going to be with Minister Gibson, and the women, you're going to stay here. You're going to be with other clinicians. Teens, you're going to go in the old fellowship hall, and you're going to be with Aiden and my young sister here. All right? So we can use these doors over here. Ladies, would you come forward a little bit more so they can have access to you? And fellas, you can just go through this door right here and go downstairs to the fellowship hall.
Huh? Thank you, girl. I appreciate y'all. I remember y'all. Every time I see y'all, I wish I'd let you know I remember you. I appreciate you. had a hard time of letting go. I felt like I was betraying people that I grew up with. I was betraying the girls that I knew. But if I stayed, I would become them. But if I went, you think you're better than me. I got that. It's making me emotional. Or you're better than me. I stayed in Lawrenceburg and opened my practice in Lawrenceburg to help y'all, to help us as a people. And so I don't want to cry, but that right there was one of my hardest battles climbing the ladder, was making sure that I didn't leave behind anybody and making sure that I stayed true to myself. But staying true to myself is what God created in me. So I tell people that sit in front of me, if you know that what you're doing is not staying true to yourself and God didn't create that in you, then it's time for you to disperse it. Sometimes you lose things along the way, and if you read your Bible and you believe in your Bible, he'll tell you that too. You're going to lose some things along the way. And in the midst of healing, you lose things along the way.
Once you let go as well, it's easier to level up a lot of times.
And I did.
When the blessing blockers are no longer there, you can receive more that's meant for you.
You're saying that because I stay in the office, I'm booked, busy, and blessed. I'm the BBB.
Sometimes, and I need to understand this.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes when you have a strong personality
Yes, ma'am.
and you have an assurance,
Yes, ma'am.
other people don't really listen well or respond well because they figure you okay, you good. I can just say okay, yeah, be quiet.
Check on your strong friends.
Yes, we the weak ones.
Is what they call it. So, you
It's
know,
not that you're weak. It's just that
right.
you are sensitive. We're so strong because we're trying to build everybody else up. Again, there goes the cup. You know, like they say, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? You understand? But the thing about it is your cup half full or is it half empty? Well, I would say in most times it's half empty. Because if it was half full, we wouldn't be people. You know, people going to have problems. Yes, our cup runneth over. But the biggest thing is being strong is a skill set. It's a personality. It's what we were trained to do. Something you said caught my attention, and I didn't speak on it because, like I said, I got the gift of gab. But the thing about it is that we are trained. When I was young, like I said, we was trained what to do. Like we knew if my mother overslept, we took something and put it in the sink so it fall out. Oh, you're not going what? You're not going to eat. We naturally knew that we did that. If it was thawed out, you season the meat. We weren't told to do things. If whoever walked past that sink and noticed that meat is thawed out, you take it out the plastic bag, you wash the meat, you season it, put it in a plastic container. So when they come home, they can cook. If you know how to cook the rice, whatever part of the meal you can cook it and let her prepare the rest. Some things we think common sense is common, but common sense is not always common. You know what I'm saying? Reading is fundamental, but it's not always fundamental. So what we have to understand is everybody comes to us with a certain skill set. Each therapist has a skill set. You know, it don't matter how long we've been providing therapy. If you were born to do it, you're born to do it. And the thing about it is that I can learn from you, I can learn from her. But if I'm closed off, like what you said earlier, and I don't want to listen, and I don't want to learn, or if you're talking and I'm not paying attention or tracking, or she's talking and I'm not paying attention or tracking, that's not right. Because something everybody's saying we can learn from. So what I need you to understand is that life is going to life, but you embrace who you are. Because I embrace who I am. I used to like my voice, but I learned that my voice was what God had given me. People notice me for my voice before they notice anything else, because it's icing on this voice. And so I thank God for that voice.
It reminded me too what you said of, you know, because you're strong and you are stable or have your own things going for you, people don't really have to kind of worry about. It reminds me of, you know, maybe when we're younger and mama's like, oh, I ain't got to worry about her. She's good. You know, I ain't got to worry about her. She's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Because maybe you have, you know, embodied that strength that maybe mom modeled, but you're also picking up that you don't say you need help when you need help, or say that you need support when you need support. You know, you don't reach out because you know you got to put on that strong front. You know, so along with that strength that we pick up, we also pick up that, oh, I don't need any help. I'm okay. I'm good. When really, you know, you have to unlearn that now. You have to be the one that advocates for yourself and that says, yeah, I got it together. You know, things are all right, but I still need someone to talk to, or I need this extra support. Or, hey, you know, you're my girl. I love you, but you know, same way I check on you, it would mean a lot if you checked on me too sometimes like that.
Yes.
Glad you said that, because that's exactly where my mind went. Not that strength is a positive, but when in relationship to women, strength can also be our defense mechanism, and it can actually be a weakness. Though it may not be for everyone.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes people put on an armor of strength, and on the inside they're totally wrong.
It isolates us.
We have to make sure that we're not pushing people away that are trying to help us by appearing so strong.
That too. Vulnerability is also strength, so finding that balance that helps us to feel like we're still safe enough to let our guard down, you know, but also pushing us a little bit past our comfort zone to be able to receive those positive and supportive connections.
And we have to look at the medical piece of that, with the mental health and the depression and the anxiety is raising blood pressure. More women are having CVAs. More women are having widowmakers, heart attacks, because they walk out and, like we said, we put on the face, and that goes together, the mental health and the medical piece, and their blood pressure is always high. No blood pressure medication is working. I agree with some people in some standards that some stress is healthy, but not like that, where your blood pressure is always high, where you're always on edge. More women nowadays are having more CVAs than men. You understand? We have to relax. Like she said, you gotta loose off. You gotta know, even if nobody else in that house notices, you gotta know when you need a nap. And if you don't wanna cook dinner, you have to say, I don't wanna cook dinner today. You're gonna have to go out. That's what I wanna say, because a lot of my older women they were going to the doctor when I met them. My blood pressure, my blood pressure. Well, you're not breathing enough. You're not. You're not breathing enough. You gotta breathe. You gotta de-stress. And that 20 minutes in the car when you come home is great. Do it then. You don't have to, there's no rule to say that you got to get out your car immediately when you drive up under your carport or in your garage. Unless it's too hot in there. Your car runs into you. You know, so like you said, decompressing, like she said, you have to learn. I don't like people touching me because of some trauma. So I like gardening, so I have a greenhouse. I garden. I love gardening, and I love giving to people. So when I get squash, cucumbers, and cabbages and stuff, I like giving it away. Because like right now, I'm hot. People texting me because they can't get it out the grocery store. I have lettuce. I have things that I grow in my garden. So the thing about it is that, like she said, finding your own peace. Sometimes I go to work early. I drop my grandkids off at school when they're in school, and I go to my office. I leave all the lights off except the one in the hallway, and I cut my light off, and I just lay at my desk. I don't look at my calendar. I don't worry about what's coming. I don't pull chart until the doorbell rings. And then, everybody has to wash their hands and everything when they come to my office from the germs and stuff. But that's when I pull charts. You have to find your own way. Then, I offer snacks and food and stuff. That still gives me time to get myself registered. So I have to register my mind like I want you to register your mind. That's a policy and procedure for me. And so the biggest thing is, like she's saying, find your why. Find what helps you. Even during the day in your office, find what helps you. If it means walking outside to defrost because you're cold, and you stand out there and be like, oh, okay, that's life. Then you go back in. It's finding your why, finding your peace, finding why you do it. Some people like to write, some people like to journal. It's just finding what works for you.
Amen. Aiden and Kevin, would you come back so we can close out and have some lunch? Did you all enjoy yourself today? Did you get a lot of information? Okay, we want to do this every year as an annual workshop. We want it to get larger and better. Let us know some things that we can do to help this become a better event. Before we leave, if you could leave the audience with one piece of advice about protecting their mental health, what would that be? All of you.
Okay. I guess my one piece of advice would be that it's okay to grow and to change, that we don't always have to be stuck in the situation that we're in, or the mindset that we're in. We don't always have to be the person that we are or we were at 20. We can evolve, we can change, and it's okay, and give ourselves the space and the grace to do so.
There's so much that comes to mind, but I think just in a nutshell, it would be that, you know, it is nothing but strength whenever you need to reach out for support. You know, it may look like therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy. I think everyone could benefit greatly from therapy, at least at some point in their journey. And so, you know, it's nothing but strength versus weakness whenever it's time to reach out for support. And it's honoring yourself. It's kind of like fighting our way back home to ourselves, you know, whenever we can start to take, you know, our own mental health and our spiritual health and our emotional health and wellness seriously.
For me, fall down, but get back up. Your biggest weakness could be your biggest success.
I'll sum it up in just one sentence. You can't heal from what you hide from. And you can't heal from what you don't reveal. And so you got to be able to confess and talk about it. The Bible links confession to healing. And so I think it's incredibly important that you start to talk about it because that brings healing.
Sorry. The last thing I would probably say is there's a lot of stuff that we talked about not being okay, a lot of the issues that we go through with everyday life, grief, depression, anxiety, but just remembering that we have to take a moment to be present in life as well. We need to be okay with just being okay to smell the flowers that we produce, because a lot of stuff that we experience in life can be hectic and can be crazy. But just remember that there are good moments in life. So,
would you all give all of our clinicians a hand? Thank you, Dr. Armstrong, Renee, Modell, all of the working components to make this happen. Thank you, everyone who had a hand and a part in this. We have some food downstairs in the fellowship hall that you all can partake in and nourish yourselves and think about and reflect on what you've heard today. Make sure you're okay, right? Make sure you're okay. We can be busy seeing about other people and we're not okay, all right? Take advantage of all the resources they have in the back. Make sure you take it with you, not as a bookmark, but read it and see what it says. If there's some numbers that you need to jot down or screenshot in your phone that you need to have easy access to, go ahead, put those down. If you need to meet with them after for a one-on-one to just say, hey, what do you think? Or you need to get their numbers or whatever, do that, all right? We want you to be okay and be well, all right? Yes.
I think it'd be great too if Dr. Armstrong or one of the team, if you want to see different things as far as mental health awareness, something that we didn't hit today, next time we can try to hit it in different, get some good feedback on what happened today.
Dr. Armstrong has some postcards, so you can just write it down, give it back to her while you're eating and say, hey, would you consider this next time? Or I have some valuable information or whatever that I could share. So we want to make this a better event each year. And we want the whole family to be involved with it, okay? Thank you again for coming and sharing with us here at Franklin. We love all of you just as you are. We just want you to be healthy, all right? Lord, bless the food that we're about to receive. Let it nourish and strengthen the body. Bless the hands that have prepared it. Now unto him who is able to keep us from falling, to present us faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be glory, majesty, dominion, and power both now and forever. Amen. Would you all remain for